Hello, and welcome back to the Coop de Villa channel. I'm Scott Cooper, and I'm here with Noah Fisher, and Jake Marin is here as well, again for his second time. The cat's in the background. What's the cat's name, Jake?
Jum.
So we've got everyone here. We're here to obviously review Aston Villa versus Fulham from back on Saturday. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got the women having a good win. We've got the FA Youth Cup victory. How good was that? And we're going to talk a bit about what's going on with Villa and the run-in, who's going to finish in those top 5 positions, and what we can expect from our last 3 games in the season. So please stick around, and we'll be covering all of that and much more after this. And yes, welcome back to Coop de Villa Live. We are here for another week. Noah's here, Jake's here, and we are here to discuss Aston Villa versus Fulham. Jake, I'll go to you first, buddy, because it's been a couple of weeks since you've been on. And not the most entertaining or exciting or thrilling performance from Villa in this game, but got the job done, got the 3 points, and I guess put the pressure on some of the other teams that are going for that top 5 spot. And I guess the big story is Yuri Tielemans, player of the season. I think he'll probably win, and he got the big goal and got us the big 3 points.
Yeah, it was a pretty. It's been a pretty big couple of weeks, I reckon. Obviously, bowing out of the Champions League and out of the FA Cup, unfortunately. But you know, we've still got a season to go, and Saturday night was a pretty big game for us to try and keep touch with the top 5. And
Absolutely.
While in parts it wasn't pretty, but we were able to manage to grind it out. Fantastic first half goal by Yuri Tielemans. Had to go back and watch that one again. Just the way that the ball was crossed in from John McGinn. Absolutely class finish. So, still a lot of the season to go, but yeah, the heat is on, and the title race is wrapped up, but the European race is definitely hot.
Yeah, it's definitely there to play for, Noah. And coming off the really disappointing performance in the Cup semi-final against Palace, Tielemans was one of the guys that got maybe singled out a bit, as everyone did, for just because he had a bad game, and he never has a bad game, but it just shows he never has 2 bad games in a row, because he just comes back, big goal, huge celebration. And look, I thought the atmosphere was a bit weird at Villa Park on Saturday. It was a bit kind of dull, a bit sort of, not really much, noise from the crowd early, especially. But, that goal settled the nerves a bit, and we were able to see out the game.
Yeah, I mean, you said it there, Scott. It was nerves. Even at 1-0, I was still nervous myself watching at home, and I didn't really know what to do. Didn't make a lot of noise, that's for sure. But when you're nervous, Everyone's kind of watching the game and was a bit on edge, and we don't clean sheets, so we've got to concede. So when we're going to concede, we've got to score another one. It was kind of that sort of a game, and I mean, I heard a stat that Yuri Tielemans has scored 3 goals this season in the Premier League, and 2 of them with his head. Where when he was at Leicester, he was banging them in from everywhere, here, there, and everywhere with his foot. But I mean, what a player. I mean, I can't not talk about him, because he's just been absolutely sensational this year, and he's my player of the season. He's taken that Douglas Luiz role. Who would replace him? We can't replace Douglas Luiz. Well, that man for £0 has done a pretty good job there. So I'm just relieved we got the 3 points. There's 3 massive games to go that we'll touch on, and obviously I know some results went our way, some didn't go our way, but that's football, and we just got to keep winning. That's all we can focus on.
Yep, definitely. And Jake, I think like Noah said, I was a bit worried, that we might concede late and it could really end the party, end the season, because I think we have to go pretty much perfect from here on in to give ourselves the chance. I mean, maybe 2 wins and a draw might be enough in some weird situation, but I think 3 wins is probably what we're going to need. And, look, we got this one out of the way. I thought Matty Cash was good. He made a great block towards the end that, he took a bit of a boot for it as well. But it was a crucial intervention. And we didn't let Fulham, have that many chances. I thought we defended quite well. So that was a positive. And, we got the job done. So anyone else you want to talk about?
Well, you got to remember that Fulham actually did score, but it was handball, and rightly so. It was there. That this could have been a very different fixture had that not been handball. But I'm actually watching. I've actually got the mini match on in the background as we speak. So, and I've just seen that clip of them scoring. So, it could have been a very different fixture. Look, I think Yuri Tielemans has been absolutely outstanding all season. Despite sometimes we might have a bit of a grumble about him here and there, but he just puts in. He reminds me a little bit of Ashley Young in the amount of work rate that he actually gets through. Ability to be able to stay incredibly fit and healthy as well has just been absolutely gold for us, and picking him up for almost next to nothing has been absolutely awesome for us.
Yeah, so good. He's just so good at manipulating that ball, Noah, just getting into pockets of spaces, and he's not the fastest, he's not the biggest engine in the league or anything, but he's just a clever player that knows where to be, when to make his runs, when to drop off, when to pick someone out, and he's just the decision making that's so quick for him, and I think he will get the player of the season. I think Morgan Rogers was the other one that was kind of talked about, but he might have dropped off a bit sort of second half of the season, fair to say, but Tielemans, just absolute quality all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say that he's not the quickest, because I think when he has the ball, the game just slows down, doesn't it? It just he plays in slow motion. He just has all the time in the world to pick passes. We've seen so many times this year where the team give him time and space. He's not going to do anything with it, and then he just lobs over the top and it's a goal. And the ability, people might think it looks easy, he's doing it, effortless, but I mean, the amount of effort that goes into that and training and hard work, it's crazy. And I still remember when we signed him, he couldn't get into our team. This is a guy that was not happy, he wasn't playing, not playing a lot of games, and this season he has just been Mr. Reliable. I think he's played every single game, is that right? I think he's played 52 games this season now. Something ridiculous like that for Aston Villa.
He never gets a rest ever.
He can't. He did get a rest. He did come off in this game, so fair play. He's got his rest ready to go for Bournemouth. Yeah,
and what a big game that's going to be. But look, there was a few other. Let's get into the race for top 5, Jay, because Chelsea had a win against Liverpool, which sort of hurt me to watch that game, because I was banking for a Liverpool win there, really, but they're obviously still in the beer. And Newcastle had a point away at Brighton in a game that they were losing for a lot of that match, and I was thinking, that'd be a great one for if they lost that match. But I guess the draw is a good result for us. Nottingham Forest last night went to Palace, were 1-0 down as well, and got one back, so they pick up a point. But I put this out on the Facebook, but there could be a situation that last game of the season between Forest and Chelsea could be a situation where if Chelsea win, they get the last spot in the Champions League. If Forest win, they get the last spot in the Champions League. And if it's a draw, Villa get the last spot in the Champions League. And I mean, that might not do well for our hearts, but it would be exciting for the neutrals.
Yeah, like I said off the top of the show, it's definitely heating up. Just having a look at the table now, there's 3 points from 4th right down to us in 7th.
Yeah.
3 points, and this weekend's game against Bournemouth becomes a real 6-pointer because we get the result there. We can almost bank on finishing at least in the top 10. Worst we could finish if results go our way. We can't. I don't think we can finish lower than 7th if results go our way and we get the win this weekend, which is good for us because at the same time you've also got the FA Cup still to play out, and if City do win the FA Cup, leaves us wide open for European football next year. I know it's not exactly where we want to be. We want to be in the Champions League, but it's still some form of European football. So, this weekend's game against Bournemouth becomes almost a real 6-pointer sort of thing, because of that race, especially with a couple of teams having to play each other, especially on the last day. It also is going to be a big game for us against United on the final day as well, with almost everything to play for. So I still think we need maximum points to be able to put our hats in the ring. If results go our way, great. But we can only do what we can do, and that's just keep winning.
That's it. And, we've Spurs and Man United now are in the Europa League mix. So there's a good chance they'll be playing each other in the final of that competition. We'll see after this week's games, but that might mean that we get weakened squads from both teams. I mean, there has been the big controversy today on social media that Spurs want the game moved, and we refused their request. And now it seems like the Premier League are going to get involved and move the game anyway to the Friday night, which seems like crazy in some way. I mean, why didn't any other clubs who had, European football have their games changed? I mean, we could have done with, something similar with the amount of games we had.
We asked for it to be moved, and the Premier League said no. It's biased, Scott. If you're not one of the big 6, let's say, you're not getting your game moved. I think it's fucking ridiculous. There's a lot of outrage on Villa Twitter, which is fair enough because it's completely bullshit. And I'm not going to stand here and try to defend the Premier League because let's say they'd moved our game. I'd say fair enough. Yeah, let's move our game. But Villa, rightly so, said no, get stuffed. You didn't move our game. We're not moving this one. But I don't understand how they can then go, no, well, actually, you're wrong and we're moving the game.
That's it.
It's just bias. It's literally just bias. And I don't think it should be a thing like, if you're going to approve one, then why shouldn't ours been approved?
Yeah, I mean, like in France, for example, PSG had the week off before our game, but they do that with all the French teams, not just PSG. Like all the French teams have that sort of luxury, if you like, of playing on the Friday night before a big European game the following week. But they're saying that it gives them the same rest as Man United or something, who they likely are going to play in the final, and they want to. But that's not their place. This is a separate competition. We've got stuff to play for too, and it helps us having them, have back-to-back games.
Yeah, nah. The more I think about it, the more it just pisses me off.
Yeah,
it really does piss me off because if we had that break, who knows? Like if we had that couple of extra days, who knows what would have happened? But look, what's been is gone. The Premier League's biased. Water is wet. The Pope is Catholic. End of the day.
Correct. What did you think about that decision, Jake?
Look, to be quite, I agree with Noah. It's but I'm also a big person against Tottenham Hotspur. And Noah can attest to me not being the best person when it comes to Tottenham Hotspur things.
Nobody likes Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah. That's pretty universal, I think.
It's just
so.
Didn't we request to have games moved while we had our Champions League campaign?
I think
in around January.
Game. It was a Liverpool game. I think it was,
and it got knocked back. So why is it that teams like Tottenham Hotspur, who are technically a Big 6 club, even though they've
They're not.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
No.
Why are those sort of teams getting these games moved, right? That doesn't benefit us, but yet when we ask to move our games to obviously recuperate from our big European campaign, nothing. I agree with you guys. It's just bullshit.
It is bullshit. And look, I hope that they Bodo Glimt knock them out, to be honest. So just to rub it in their faces, because they've got to go to the Arctic Circle on Thursday night and play on a plastic pitch. And they might have a 3-1 lead, but that's not done. This team, they've beaten Roma 6-1 at home. They beat Lazio 2-0. So, at home, they're very, very different teams. So, Bodo Glimt on that one.
Yeah, come on, Bodo Glimt.
And we know Tottenham Hotspur are all about being a bunch of bottle jobs. So, yeah.
Absolutely. But, and they've got Ange, the Aussie coach, which, when he went there, I was a bit like, because I did like Ange pre Tottenham. I think since Tottenham, he's kind of gone down in a lot of people's estimations. He's got a bit angry.
Villa fans. That's Villa fans.
But I still like Ange.
I still like Ange. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sure Ange will land on his feet if he does end up getting sacked, and he'll get another decent job somewhere else in Europe.
I don't think he's going to get sacked. I'm pretty sure he's going to leave. I don't think he's happy with how the club's run. I think he's asked for set man things and they're saying no. You know what I mean? So he's just pissed off. But he said at the start of the season he always wins in his second season. The fact that he's 15th in the Premier League and still in the competition is mind-blowing to me.
It is crazy that we've had such a good season and we might miss out on Champions League. But one of those two clubs that have been absolute dog shit are going to probably be in the Champions League next season. It's but it kind of does, give us a lesson as to if we are in the Europa League next year, then we can win it. We can, we're a better team than either of those sides, and we can, use this as an extra opportunity to get Champions League future 2 seasons from now. So let's see what happens. But that's going to be interesting to see. And of course, it wasn't good that the game got moved, but Friday night at Villa Park, I'm sure the fans will, get up for it. It'll be good.
Sai AVS says, just put a comment in, when we needed help for the home leg after PSG had in Paris and also the FA Cup semi-final too. Did they help us put it? They put an extra game in instead, throwing the City away game in before Wembley. Now, I don't know about you. That FA Cup game was very lackluster, and the boys were obviously clearly tired. So that City away game was definitely unnecessary. I agree with you, Si. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, it just seems like it was sort of stacked up against us, having Liverpool and City, probably the two toughest teams in the league in these crucial moments in our season. Not ideal. But something that is ideal, Noah, was Aston Villa under 21s winning the FA Youth Cup against Man City yesterday. Unbelievable. Great scenes. Great to see 25,000 at Villa Park to watch it. It's a great turnout, and they were, they saw a great game because Villa won 3-1, and we saw some of the young talent out there and a couple of unbelievable goals.
It's exciting, Scott, isn't it? It really is exciting, and I remember we won it as one of the first games back with crowds, with decent crowds after COVID, when we beat Liverpool in the final on penalties, I think it was. When we had so many good players, Carney Chukwuemeka, we had Timo Gabonum, Kane Hayden, Aaron Ramsey. If we have any sort of players of that sort of caliber come out of the team that's there right now, our future's looking good. It really is. I mean, the goalkeeper, Proctor, he's up to some Emi Martinez penalty saving heroics against United and was given it a little bit, and it's it doesn't fall far from the tree, does it? Doesn't fall far at all.
And Cole Brannigan,
what a strike!
What a goal from him! Like
comes out every day,
edge of the box. Volley into the top corner. We also had Jimmy. What's his name? Jimmo. I don't know how to say that, but
you wouldn't have to be reading that off a screen, would you, Scott?
I am.
I don't know.
I've seen him on Football Manager, but I've never had to say his name out loud.
This I was going to say was Sadie put in. It was a decent crowd. I think it was the Holt End and the Trinity Road that was open, and it was pretty well, like the lower one was pretty well packed. So fair play to people that got there. I think it was £1. I think that's what the massive fee was. I've had all the Champions League games of 96, but not £1. How good's that?
And Max and Simon were there, and
but it's what it's all about. Getting to see the young villains. Like they would never play in front of a crowd that big. Some may never ever again. Like it's a great experience for them.
Absolutely, and it was great to see some of the first team squad there. Morgan Rogers, Jacob Ramsey, Matson was there too, I saw. And they were all on the pitch afterwards celebrating with the players. And, I've always said this, that the Villa's youth system is our number one asset.
100%.
Always, and it's the kind of thing that will take us to the next level. All we need is to get two guys out of those players to be a Jacob Ramsey or a Jack Grealish or whoever, right, to come through, and it can just take us to the next level, because when we're in a situation now where they won't have to leave for 100 mil. Like if we had a Jack Grealish come through now, he could stay with us. If we're in the Champions League, if we're top 4 every season and can pay big money, and and we can sort of build our team around such a player. So I've always said that we've got a great youth system. We've got brilliant coaches. I'm not sure if Cowans is still there, but he was there for many years.
A while.
Yeah,
it's great. And they're re-signing as well. Scott signed professional contracts like Rory Wilson. That was the big talk in the year. Like he's going to go, and then he signed a long-term contract. And like Villa is a place to be if you're a young player at the moment. Like it's just proving it time and time again. And Emery's not afraid of giving guys opportunities. Like he's not afraid of chucking people on the bench in the Premier League and bringing them on for 5-10 minutes and sending them out on loan and getting them first team experience. Like Kane Kessler-Hayden, I think, was Preston North End's part of the season. Like this guy's going to come back with a vengeance and try to get into a team. We need a right back. Well, this guy's trying to say, hey, that could be me.
Louis Barry as well has done well on his loans.
Well, he spent most of it injured, Scott, so I'm not sure where you got that from.
Well, first half of the season at Stockport, he was good. And then
at Stockport, at Hull.
At Hull it hasn't worked out, but at Stockport, he was, they love him there.
They want to buy him, but
exactly.
Pay 100 mil.
Yeah, so don't worry. I know my loans there, all right? No, so you can pipe down over there, buddy. But look, it was a great day, fantastic, and the whole club is just moving in a great direction. Jake, the other one was the women's team had a big win. They're finishing the season really strong after having a difficult season.
I thought they were going to get relegated at one stage, Scott. I thought they were going to go down, and they've won 4 on the trot. I think it is. They're well clear, but I'm not sure what this has been for the whole year.
And they beat Arsenal, who are in the Champions League final.
And it was how nice is it? 2 seasons in a row. Sorry, Jake, I'm taking your thunder, but we ended Arsenal's title hopes in the men's last season, and we did it in the women's this season. So how good was that?
I didn't know this from so Man City have won 25 games in a row there, and we beat them in the final in the Youth Cup. Is that right?
Oh, really?
So that's quite something.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, but the women's team doing well, the youth team doing well, the first team doing well, and hopefully we can finish off, with a great, last 3 games. I mean, it is kind of heartbreaking in a way if we don't make it, because we've had such a good finish, Jake, to the season. If you think about it, if you take away, the cup match and the City match, I think we've won like 8 out of the last 9 or something in the Premier League. It's like it's a long time since that sort of sticky run when we went away to Palace and it was looking like it was all over. And if we can get back to that sort of form, there's no reason we can't get maximum points from the last 3 games.
Yeah, I think we just I think we've hit a bit of form at the right time. I mean, I was actually sitting back thinking a couple of weeks ago, geez, we really turned a corner probably after that Palace game away from home. And, obviously we managed it really well in the way that we were able to remain in the competitions that we were in, as well as, keep picking up the results in the Premier League. And yeah, the season's been really good for us this year. I think we've taken another step in the right direction over this year after obviously coming in leaps and bounds last season. I think we've just continued to build. We started like a house on fire at the start of the season. We're always going to have. One thing I've noticed over the last couple of years is we have really long lull periods, where we go 4 or 5 fixtures where sometimes we don't even look like scoring. I don't think this season we've had quite as longer drought of that lull period. It's been more highs than lows. And going into next season, the last 4 fixtures of this season, we really need to finish strong to obviously keep our European aspirations alive, but just to finish strong, just to gain some momentum going into next year, because next season, I think is the one that, we've had a crack at Champions League. We've gotten to a semi-final of an FA Cup. Now we're starting to put the pieces together. We finished 4th in the league last year. Next season is going to be huge for us in terms of putting it all together, what we've learnt over the last 2 seasons, and being able to actually go and put it into practice and start challenging these Liverpools, City. We've beaten City once this year. Start challenging.
Yeah, but what I would say though is the sort of the big 6 we haven't really done that well against. We beat City. We beat Chelsea, I guess. We drew away at Arsenal, but Liverpool, a draw and a defeat. I think we got to start being a bit more competitive in those sort of games. And the other thing I would say is when we get into the positions in the cups where we can win them, it's that last step. We got to the semi-finals of the conference. Lost to Olympiacos. We got to the semi-final of the FA Cup. Lost to Palace, and both. I think we were confident going into both of those ties that we could be. We could win the tournament. And it didn't quite happen. So that's going to be a big test for Emery if we do sort of maybe go to the Europa League next year and get into the final 8, final 4. Can we bring it at the end of the season? What do you think about that?
Well, that's where you need. That's where you need to. That's what you need to start putting these pieces together. What we've learned. We need to start bridging the gap to these big 6 clubs. And Liverpool, the way that they are at the moment, they're a very, very good team. They are, the way that they've dominated teams this year is just, there's them and daylight second. So it's up to us and taking over the last couple of seasons to be able to push to start pushing some of these teams. And the guys will be better. The guys will be better for the runs. I don't think we can see, those heartbreak losses in the cup final. Well, in the penultimate rounds of the cups, happening too much.
Well,
so
I think we'll see a bit of that. Final, I think we'll see that as well in these last 3 games. Like their cup finals.
They are. I was about to say these are cup finals.
And Spurs, Man United. Of course they're having bad seasons, but that we have sort of suffered against those sides in the past.
Especially Tottenham at Villa Park. Normally, I mean the last 3 visits there, I think they've smashed us if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
I know they smashed us last time.
Yeah,
this is a good point from Coxie that I wanted to bring up, Noah, and it's just Asensio seems to maybe have dropped off a little bit.
He's plateaued, yes.
Yeah, Daniel Marlin's not starting games ever, but he's actually looking really good when he comes off the bench. They hit the bar in this game, and he looked pretty dangerous when he came on. Ollie Watkins missed a couple of chances. Since Marlon comes on, but the thing is, where I was getting it is like, do we keep these guys? Have they done enough? Like what would be your thinking if you were Unai Emery and Monchi in terms of who's a we must keep, who's a if the price is right, and who's a probably hasn't done enough? Is there?
I think they've all done enough. I think
even Disassi.
I don't think we need Disassi. I actually kind of forgot we had him. I'm not going to lie to you. But I'm more thinking about Rashford and Asensio here. I think Disassi has just done his job, what we needed him to do. We got bodies back when he came in. We had no one. Kamara's playing centre back when Disassi came in, but Asensio, geez, I don't know why he wouldn't keep him. I'm not going to lie to you. Like when he's on, I know he's underperforming at the moment and whatnot, but I mean, I'm not sure what's going to come in here, but. I don't know. What do you think about this? I think I'd love to sign Rashford as well, but it's all about team balance, Scott. And obviously, I don't get paid to make these decisions, and it looks on paper really good. And we saw how it went with Coutinho. I can't believe he's still in our books, by the way. I just heard that the other week. He's still in our books. He's playing in Brazil. That's kind of how these deals can pan out, and we know that.
Yeah.
So maybe thank Asensio for his services, but I think, geez, there's more to get out of Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, well, what do you think, Jay?
I think they've all done enough. Asensio hasn't been the player that he was when he first came in on loan. I think he's plateaued out a little bit. Daniel Marlin, he's an interesting one because as I said a couple of weeks ago when I was on, I was really skeptical about him coming on board in January, and obviously but. When I keep watching him play and he comes off the bench, he's just so energetic, enthusiastic about it. And it's starting to show into his games where he's getting to the right spots and he's actually starting to get, I know he hit the bar on the weekend. It could very well have gone in. But he's one that I definitely think we need to keep at least because he just brings that energy. He brings that, enthusiasm. When Ollie Watkins is going to have some bad days, and it's we need Marlon to be that backup to when Morgan Rogers in behind. We need Daniel Marlon as that backup, and I think with his energy and enthusiasm,
that might be the argument against Asensio is when he plays as a number 10, Morgan Rogers has to play out wide. And you don't get the best from Rodgers when that happens. And I think, like going back to Marlon, I would say he needs to start games. He needs to start a few games at least. Like one out of these last 3 games. So. Yeah, of course. He's different to the other 3. He's going to be here for the long run. He's going to be playing in Europe next season one way or the other for us. And I think he's perfect for the Premier League. He's got pace. He's got power. He seems to have a bit of nastiness about him as well, which I like.
No bullshit, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just like rocked up. He said he was disappointed that he wasn't in the Champions League squad. He doesn't mind speaking his mind. He seems a confident guy. He's done it at international level for Holland as well. So, I'd like to see him maybe even start against Bournemouth, give Ollie a bit of a rest and bring him on because, he had some chances on the weekend that Ollie, who's firing, would have scored, but he's just, not quite, he has these periods, like you said, Jake, about the whole team. Like, I think a lot of that sort of is Ollie firing. That kind of comes into it. If Ollie's firing, we're normally firing. If he's not firing, then it can be a bit of a struggle.
To answer this question, I think he will break Gabby's record.
Yeah.
He was so close against Fulham. He was so close twice to breaking the record. And I think he's got to. It's about time someone's done it. I do love Gab, but you look at the stats, like how many games he played, how many goals he scored. It's like a club like Villa, because the Premier League's all that matters these days, and games before 1990 don't matter apparently. So having not some with 100, I think that will haunt us. So come on, Ollie. Come on, Ollie.
Bring back Billy Walker, from the 30s.
Give us our real stats, come
on. Look, I think that, Agbon Hall was great, but he wasn't an elite striker, really. Whereas Ollie, I think, is elite, elite enough. He's been consistent for us. And, I'd like to see him break the record. We'll see if he can do it against Bournemouth on Saturday. But should we get to predictions for Bournemouth? Wrap it up.
Go on, lad.
All right, Jake, you give us your prediction. How do you think we'll go on at the Vitality Stadium?
Do you know what it is? It is an interesting ground for the Vitality Stadium, and historically, we haven't done really all that well at the Vitality over the years.
Where's Rudehead Gusted when you need him?
I was actually there the day that Ali Samata scored for his first Premier League goal, and nobody actually knew he'd scored. But I still think we've got to. I think we got to get up for this. It's, as you said, 3 cup finals left. 4 cup finals left to go. I think we got to get the result, and I reckon Ollie gets a record this weekend, and we win 2-0.
So do I.
I'm going to say 1-0, but I think we'll do it. It's all about the defense to me. Can we? Because we've had real issues against Semenyo, guys like that in the past. Kirkes, guys with pace on the wide areas. So can Cash, Digne, and the midfielders who are, coming back to help out, do the job defensively? If we can keep a clean sheet against Bournemouth, I think we win. Or even if we can keep it to 1 goal, but they are a team at home in that small stadium. They get it rocking and they can put pressure on big teams. They've beaten some big teams, Arsenal, Man City this season, I'm pretty sure as well. Yeah. They beaten down there. So this is the toughest game easily of our last 3 games. And, if we can get through this one with a win, then it's on. It is on. But this is probably the one where we're going to be like watching, in the middle of the night, with the rug pulled right up, because there's going to be some scary moments. I think it's going to be tense, but hopefully we can get it done.
As you said, when Bournemouth go away from home, they're a shell of the team that they are when they do play at home. They play the Vitality so well. Yeah. And it's going to be tough to break down. And I threw 2-0 out there, but just thinking about it, it's they are a totally different side at home. And
they've just beaten Arsenal away as well. So they're in a bit of, I guess, form. I know Arsenal sort of got other things on their mind at the moment with PSG, tomorrow night, but. I agree with you. Down there, they're a good side, and they drew with us at Villa Park this season.
I was going to say, in my prediction, we owe them one. We owe them one, and I'll get to my prediction. I know you've probably forgotten about me. I'm just
not at all. I was just about to cut to you.
Jake's taking my role. I might be off the pod next week. I'm going to go a 2-1 Villa win. 93rd minute, just to rub their face in the dirt for what they did to us earlier in the. When was that? Was that Jan or was that December time? That
Yeah, it was around that sort of Christmas time. Yeah.
Yeah, rubbed their head in the dirt.
From a free kick too.
It was a last-minute free kick header. And we're going to do exactly the same. And it's going to be Watkins in front of the away fans. Jakey would push me down the stairs if we were there. There's a story behind that. And yeah, we're going to win 2-1 and just absolutely rub their face in the dirt.
Oh, I love that. I love that. All right. Well, please, guys, make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Yeah, we're getting there. There's only 3 more games to go. So make sure you come into the live chat. We will be here after Bournemouth, and hopefully we'll be all happy after a big win. So until the Bournemouth match, from me, it's up the Villa, and good night.
Up the Villa.
See ya.